Megaherzzz. You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ.
You're tuned into Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ. I'm Sisi. My pronouns are she, her. I'm joined in the studio by Sarah.
I'm Sarah and my pronouns are they, them.
And we have a very special, we're very excited for this episode. We were dancing just then because our theme for the episode is, drum roll please, Femme drummers. We're very excited about this. We've got a stacked lineup, Femme and non-binary, a stacked lineup of drummers.
There is no way we're going to get through all of this in an hour, but we're going to give it our best shot.
But before we get on with the rest of the show, we would like to acknowledge that we are on the stolen lands of the Yuggera and Turrbal peoples. They are the sovereign owners of this unceded land of which we live and broadcast. We pay our respect to elders past, present and future of the Yuggera, Turrbal, Juggera, Yuggerapul and Quandamooka nations, and we stand in solidarity with all First Nations people in the fight for justice.
And would like to acknowledge that, First Nations women have been making music and keeping the beat for thousands and thousands of years right here on this very land.
Absolutely. Well said. But we are about to commence our segment. We've made a commitment to document the femicide happening in Australia. This is a very difficult topic, so if you need to tune out for the next couple of minutes, please do so. Practice self-care. Look after yourself. Sarah?
Actually, a bit of positive news for today's segment. So, thankfully not as tough as our usual segment. I'd actually like to share some news from Amnesty International. They just recently put out a report on 29 wins for human rights that have happened in the last quarter. And one that I'd like to highlight, and I'll read out the entry that they had. You can find this on the web as well if you want to know the other 28 wins for human rights. But I wanted to share with you from Algeria. So thanks to sustained advocacy work from Amnesty International Algeria and several national women's rights organisations, Algeria's President Abdelmadjid Tebboune announced a series of concrete measures to combat violence against women, moving from commitment to action. The Ministry of Solidarity has since launched a national toll-free helpline, which is available 24/7 across the country, enabling victims to report abuse, be referred to appropriate support services, and receive emergency assistance when in danger. It's already proving effective, and a guide for women victims of violence has been published in Arabic and English and is currently being distributed nationwide. New legal measures, including the possibility of issuing an immediate restraining order against perpetrators of violence, have also been announced. So I thought, that's a really positive thing to be able to share with you about measures that are happening to reduce gendered violence around the world.
And we were discussing before in terms of this segment, we were saying, thinking about we haven't had a death in a femicide in a couple of weeks, and going, well, it's good we don't have to report on that because it's such a hard thing, but also it's not good. It's just just as it should be.
It's just normal. It is, and that is, we weren't quite sure how we were going to tackle that, because we don't want to be celebrating, the basic human decency of not killing people. So how do we do that? Thank you for not killing anyone this week, everyone. Well done. Have a cookie. But so and yet unfortunately it is not the norm. It is an anomaly to have 2 weeks in a row where we don't have anything that we need to report on. So
it is an anomaly.
Yeah. So bittersweet there. Hard to know how to deal with that one. But
And actually, one thing that I wanted to raise before we go is that I think that I must have joined Megaherzzz around this time last year because we were discussing the spike in domestic violence around the state of origin. And it was the state of origin final recently in the last couple of weeks. I don't know. But yeah, how that becomes incredibly unsafe for women, a very large spike for women. So if you are at risk, if you are experiencing domestic violence, please message the support line 1-800-RESPECT, 1-800-737-732, or the DV Connect Women's line 1-800-811-811.
I think it's also important to make note here that we have made a commitment to talk about gendered violence and femicide, and to do that every week. And that means reporting it and talking about it every week, regardless of whether there are sensational things happening in the news to talk about. And that's, I guess, really very important that we talk about. Not just femicide, but violence, gendered violence as a whole, because that just because it's not sensational doesn't mean that it's not still happening as well. So it's really important to keep a spotlight on that.
Open Doors Youth Service is Queensland's leading LGBTQIAP+ sister girl and brother boy youth organisation, and we aim to create a safe and inclusive environment. We have drop-in spaces in the Valley for all queer and gender diverse young people aged 12 to 24. It happens every second and fourth Monday of the month from 12 to 2 p.m. So come along and join us for a free barbecue lunch, games, chill spaces, showers, as well as a community closet. At Open Doors, our motto is Pride for Life. We look forward to seeing you there. 4ZZZ cares about our communities.
We have a focus on femme drummers today on Megaherzzz. We usually focus on femme-fronted bands, as in singer. We were challenging that idea, and we're floating the idea of incorporating more women who are in other elements of the band more frequently, but we're not sure. We're thinking about it as in terms of femme-fronted bands always the singer in the front. I don't know. I am not articulating this very well, but
I guess we're saying that that drummers are people too.
Yes.
And we would like to acknowledge the hard work that they do. And I think you'll probably see a similar session from us on bassists as well coming up, and maybe even guitarists if we feel like it. Yep. But we do love our rhythm section here at Megaherzzz. So, and we're thinking about incorporating and showcasing the work of female musicians. And let us know if you would like to hear more in the future from Megaherzzz. That is Sheila E. with The Glamorous Life. You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ, and we are talking about mega drummers on Megaherzzz. So Sheila E. is known as one of the world's best female drummers, and she is probably that was her solo song, probably her biggest hit, which wasn't not nearly as big as many of the hits that she has been on when she was Prince's drummer. So she's probably best known as Prince's drummer, but incredibly, incredibly talented person in her own right, and really never got the recognition that she deserved and really was in Prince's shadow. I recently watched a documentary on one of our major streaming platforms, brought to you by a major streaming platform, about We Are the World, which those who were around in 1985 may remember as being the supergroup song from We Are the World was the song, and it was put together by USA for Africa as a fundraiser for African aid, and which it was huge. And there was the documentary recently came out showing what led up to that, and it was all put together, and it was centered around an award show. I think the Emmys or something like that. I was going to say the Arias, but that would be an Australian one, so it was definitely not the Arias. So, but you know what I'm saying. So big awards night, lots of musicians, and and they were just running around backstage gathering people, getting them to come to be part of this almost like they're trying to create it like an after party. Come and be part of this song that we've written and recorded, and got people like Cyndi Lauper, Paul Young, and Huey Lewis. There was actually and heaps of people, but one of the stories that stood out to me on this was the story of Sheila E. And they asked Sheila E. to come along and said, come along, be part of the song, we'll get you to sing on the song. But what was really happening and became very evident in the documentary is what they really wanted was for Prince to come along. And they knew that Prince absolutely adored Sheila E. And they thought, well, if Sheila E. comes, Prince will come. And the story of her recounting that and her disappointment knowing that she's being used by these people who, were trying to get Prince to come along and didn't really want her there for her own.
When she's a worthy artist in her own right to be there.
Absolutely, when she totally is worthy of being there. But, and as the time went on and, the story, and they pretty much admitted that in the documentary as well, the other side of the story, that, yes, they really did want her there to try and get Prince to come along, and didn't seem to feel bad about that at all. They probably did after they watched her on the documentary, but it was absolutely heartbreaking to think that she's never had that solo success and recognition that she deserves, and people always see her as Prince's drummer, even though she's incredibly talented.
Well, that was a beautiful song. Yeah, who did we play today?
Who did we play? We just played Sheila E. Glamorous Life. We had Santana and
Cindy Blackman.
Blackman, who is also counted as one of the world's best drummers as well. Lindy Morrison, who is an amazing person and has done a lot for female musicians in Australia. She actually has a Masters of Law and has written about the women's experiences in the music industry in Australia.
Fantastic. So interesting.
Shout out to Pamela. Thank you very much for resubscribing as a passionate subscriber. Enjoy that sweet passionate subscriber merch.
We are running quickly out of time. We have had to leave so many songs out of this. Some honourable mentions we would like to say is Void, Tropical Fuckstorm, Being Jane Lane. We also had a few people text in. It's not showing up for me right now because somebody is entering the building. But thank you, Bella, for messaging in and saying Camp Cope. Who they also said Tomo is a wonderful femme drummer, suggested some songs. So I think we're going to maybe have to do another drumming segment. And Bella also said, P.S. definitely do a show on femme bassists. Sincerely, a femme bassist. Yes, we will be doing that, Bella.
Coming your way.
Yes, we also had Andy message in and say smallest horse, Marnie Vohen on the skin. So those are some that we are definitely going to play next time we do drummers. But to take us out, we have got just a little bit of the Carpenters.
Because we couldn't leave out Karen Carpenter.
No, we cannot. You've been listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ. Enjoy!
Isn't that what feminism is about?